Well, what's up, everybody? Y'all already know what it is, man. It's Fred, FanView Live. Um, Title for this video is Drew Brees' apology. Obviously, most people got a chance to hear it. Most people got a chance to witness it on his IG page that he came out and he spoke about it, about his apology, regarding the comments that he made a couple of days ago in an interview with Yahoo. And I would say this, in fairness to Drew Brees' apology, but the damage is done. Sometimes when you get a chance to speak the first time, you spoke your heart, and you spoke what you meant from your heart. And sometimes afterwards, the apology, really, it just isn't good enough. The apology basically meant, when I heard it, was your position is still your position, but your image has been taking a hit. And since your image has been hit, you want to try to clear up any image of your reputation that you want to cover up. But who you are is who you are. If I was a teammate of the New Orleans Saints, I don't think it takes away from Drew Brees as a teammate. I don't think it takes away from Drew Brees as a competitor. I don't think it takes away from what you want to accomplish as a team with Drew Brees as my quarterback. But it would take away from me what I heard his original comments with. I would not be his friend. He could be my teammate. He could be my brother on the field. We go out in the field. We fight together. We are teammates. We are representing the New Orleans Saints. But once we leave this locker room, we're no longer friends. I'm not a person that you can just go out here and just call a friend, because I'm not going to call you a friend. Your apology is your apology, but it doesn't change who you are. His comments that he represented, as far as he still feels in his core of him that if anybody decides to misrepresent the flag or disrespect the American flag, is somebody that he does not agree with. His apology does not change that. And for Black Americans, we do have an issue with our American flag, because, and frankly, let's keep this clear and crystal cut. It does not represent Black Americans as much as it represents white Americans, because the American flag was created way before Black Americans had citizenship or ethnicity in this country. So his apology is his apology. The apology only came because of the backlash of the statements he made. If there was no backlash, there'd be no apology. He wouldn't apologize for what he had to say in a very sensitive time in an American world, that we're dealing with social injustice against Black American citizens for police law enforcement. That's the issue. I don't have that much sympathy for Drew Brees' apology. He is who he is. I think if I was, like I said, if I was a teammate, you could be a teammate of his. You can go out there. He could be your brother on the field. He's a great competitor. You can't take away from what he does as a football player. But if I was a Black American, especially if I'm his teammate, I wouldn't be his friend. Outside of the locker room, outside of the practice, and outside of those things, no, we're not friends. And I don't think Drew Brees is a racist person. That's not what I get from him. That's just not. I get what I get from Drew Brees is that he is an American that grew up with a different version of America. And I think he's still selectively choosing to look a different direction, unless he's brought it to his attention. I think he's still selectively choosing to say, you know what, that version of America is not the America version that I envision. And there's a different America for Black Americans of how this America looks like, what that flag represents. It doesn't completely represent all Black Americans. It just doesn't. And so I think he's selectively choosing to look a different way. And that's nothing wrong with that. He can do that as an American. I want to be very clear. Drew Brees didn't commit a crime. There was no crime that Drew Brees committed. He just spoke his truth. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that he's a criminal. I don't think that he's, one of these people like, oh my God. No, he did nothing really wrong. But he just selectively choosing to live out a different version of America that he grew up understanding. And that's okay. So until Drew Brees becomes part of what I think is a public, a police reform solution to law enforcement, that's just what it is. Now, Chris Matthews said, I think that's a great point, Chris. He just spoke his truth at the wrong time. Exactly. He spoke his truth at a very insensitive time to Americans regarding law enforcement. It's his truth. It's still his truth today. Like, his apology doesn't change what he actually feels. He just spoke his truth at the wrong time. I think if he'd have spoke his truth in February, let's just say April for that matter, there would be no apology needed. He could have had the same exact comments and there'd have been no apology needed for that reason. There'd have been no apology needed. None. None whatsoever. That apology wouldn't be necessary. So that's why, as a person, I don't understand the apology. Like he said, I wouldn't say he's racist, but he have to act on actions, not words. Correct. I don't think Drew Brees is the racist at all. That's not what I get from Drew Brees. Far from it. Far from it. I don't think Drew Brees is racist. I don't think Drew Brees is, a racist person. I believe what I've been told from white people will show you. You have to live in their neighborhood and they just voluntarily not speak to you. You would have to grow up in the neighborhood, buy a home in their neighborhood, and just look at one of them and say to yourself, that person just don't speak to me, man. That's a racist. I think you can't really identify a racist person, white or black American, unless you live in their community. Like, you can't identify a white racist person by going to the grocery store. I don't think that's how you can identify them. I don't think you can really identify them that way until you live in their proximity. Then after that, I think you can really identify. But overall, that's my case on Drew Brees' apology. To me, he's still who he is. He was sincere in what he said. He had conviction in what he said in that interview. And his level of conviction identified with that. So with the apology, it's not needed or necessary because we know where you are. We know what your position is. We know where you stand. He said it with a level of sincerity when he said it. That's who he is first. The apology is not really what he is. That's a backlash. Like I said, if the statement came out in the beginning of or at the end of April, he wouldn't need an apology. So that's all I have to say about it regarding Drew Brees' apology. Again, the apology to me is not needed. It's not worth it. As a teammate, if I was one of his teammates, we could still be teammates. We go out here, we do a job, and as long as we're on the practice facility, we're inside the organization, and we're inside the locker room, and we're on the field, man, we got a job, and we are brothers. But when I leave this organization, when I leave this field, and when I leave this the stadium, man, we ain't gotta say 2 words. We just don't. We're not friends. And so, because you believe that America has a different history, for some apparent reason that you believe that this doesn't involve slavery, it doesn't involve oppression. You believe that American flag was created, that none of those things are associated with it. You're choosing to selectively look different or look the other direction, and I just can't support that as a friend. If you are a friend of mine, then that's something that you have to acknowledge and be aware of and understand. I'm not even saying you gotta be part of the solution, but I'm saying that we can't be friends if you don't understand that slavery was a real thing. Oppression is a real thing for a community of people. I'm not saying you don't even have to be part of the solution, but God damn it, you can't still be part of the problem. You can't be. So that's my video, guys, man. Like the page, subscribe to the page, man. Let's talk some more. Let's have more of these conversations, and hope we getting back to sports soon. That basketball coming back around. Got some comments about that too. But that's that. Y'all have a great Friday.